Your lighting sucks. Here's how to fix it. Work hard, rest often. What is going on, everyone? It's Finn, and yeah, we're talking about lighting today and how to make sure yours doesn't look like that first little opening clip there. Now, what exactly was the problem with that? Well, you can see right now I have a ton of lights going on right now. And at the beginning of it, I was just using the overhead little pot lights, and then I have one lamp here in the background that I also had on, and it just didn't look great. To give you an idea, currently I'm shooting at a 50th of a second, doubling my frame rate, f2.8, and ISO of 500. Now, that opening bit, I was at ISO 5000 to make up for the loss of light, and that is why the footage looks all grainy and weird, just not good. Not only is it low light, but it's harsh directional light coming from down above, and it just does not look great whatsoever. But how do we get from there to here? Well, let me walk you through that. So this is where we started, ISO 5000, just using the ambient lighting in the room. Now also, these are not currently white balanced to the proper white balance of the camera, so it's even gonna look weirder. We have practical light here in the background that is completely blown out. The camera is struggling to focus on my face. It is not having a good time, and we can fix that. So I'm gonna walk you through one by one the different lights that we can turn on in this setting to actually make this better. And I'll have links to all the equipment that I'm using in the description so you can check those out as well. Not sponsored, but affiliate links and that kind of thing. So let's first get this focus. Okay, so first, let's get this background light going on here. Taking you with me. Little foot pedal. Bulbs on. Now we have our Nanlite Pavo tube. This is going to give a teal kind of color here that contrasts against the warmth of the Edison bulb here. And you know what? Actually, this little light here is kind of bothering me, so I'm going to turn that off as well. Now we have this guy just kind of leaned up against the wall because it's in a weird spot. This is going to be daylight balanced, so we'll turn that on. That's kind of my hair light. And lastly, we have the mother of all lights here, the Genere Porta-Bright, which is my key light on my face. And that is super bright. And now that I'm blown out beyond belief, let's just drop our ISO back down to 500. And there we go. Now, I'll switch these lights off and on one by one to show you the difference that I'm getting here. I also left the overhead lights on, so I'm going to turn those off. But we'll start with that. So we just have the overheads and the practical right now, keeping the same settings. And it is super dark, super weird looking. We got a nice little practical light on there, but it's not doing a whole lot. Turn on the accent light. Okay, the background now looks more interesting, but we have nothing on my face or anything like that. So let's get the hair light going. Turn that guy on. And suddenly, I'm defined a little bit more. I'm separated from the background, but my face is still not illuminated properly. So lastly, we turn on the key light, and there we go. Now, this is almost the finished look of what I usually go with, but I like having a mist filter on, especially little practical lights like that. It gives a nice look too, so I like having that little bit of mist and that overall cinematic feel out of this. So right now I'm on a 40mm lens, and I have my Cinebloom filter, which I'm just going to throw on there with some step down rings because I got the biggest filter thread I could, so that way I can adapt it down to all my other lenses rather than buying a separate filter for each one. Little money saving tip for you. Okay, and there we have it. The highlights are a little smoothed out. We get a little blooming of the highlights here, and it just gives them more filmic quality, which I very much enjoy. I still forgot to turn the pot lights off. Be right back. There we go. That's better. Now, the reason I do that is because those lights, even though they're not super bright, they will cause interference and give me some weird undertones in my skin, which I don't want. So if you have overhead lights in your scene, it's usually best to turn them off if you're not seeing them or if you're not using them at all, especially if they're those pot lights and they just create a very harsh directional look and you get those raccoon eyes under your eyelids and everything. It's just not a great look all around, and I'm not a fan of it. So keep those guys off. But here's the thing, you don't need to go completely overkill with a setup like I have here. I have 1, 2, 3, if you count the practical, 4 lights going on right now. And I already know, what if you don't have expensive lighting equipment or anything like that? Well, let me help you. Now, there are no windows in this space that I'm in right now, which makes it perfect for filming in a setting like this because I can set my lights however I want and not need to worry about light interference. But if you have a big window, then all you gotta do is place your window close to your face, and then you will actually be able to be properly lit. I haven't changed my settings since we were sitting there. We can see I have a decent exposure on my face right now. Now also, it is pretty close up because I'm vlogging on a 40mm lens, which I don't exactly recommend. But if you're near a window, just use that. It's a giant soft light source, and it gives a similar quality to the look of my key light. And you don't even need a bunch of background lights or anything. Just use a window. It's great. Film in your car if you have to. Cars provide great natural light. Now, obviously, if you have access to a space like this where you can set up a bunch of lights and you have the lights to set up, it will work to your benefit. But if you don't, natural light is your best friend. The other issue there is you are daylight dependent when filming, so you will have to film during the daytime. But if you can work around that and you're not going to be filming through all hours of the night, then you should be able to get away just fine with using any kind of window or anything of that variety. My key light here is essentially similar to something like an Aperture 120D. It's battery powered, but because I usually film a couple videos in a row, I have it hooked up to hard power so that way the battery doesn't die on me or anything weird like that. But if you're wondering how to get good lighting in your videos and you're struggling to figure it out, start with a window, start with natural light, and work your way up from there. Turn off the ambient lighting in your room if it is very unflattering like mine is, and also you'll be able to adjust your settings to be just overall better, rather than having your ISO through the roof and you have a bunch of grain and it just doesn't look good. So if you've been struggling to figure out how to light your videos, I hope this helps you out. You can even use this for taking photos in general. If you're taking a portrait of somebody, turn off the overhead lights and light it up or get them near a window. You will get much better results that way. Hope you enjoyed this video and got some value out of it. If you did, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment. If you like this kind of thing and want to see more lighting videos from me in the future, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell to be notified for all future videos. Work hard, rest often, and as always, I will see you on the next one. Okay, bye.